In this video, I'm going to be going through required practical 11 for AQA A-level biology, which is preparing your glucose concentrations with the dilution series and then using your colorimeter to create a calibration curve. And you can then use that calibration curve to identify unknown concentrations of glucose in a hypothetical urine sample. So we're going to go through the equipment, the method, do the actual experiment, how you'd present the results, and I'll tell you some of the top tips of success to share with your students. And if you want all of that information in a downloadable guide for free, it's linked in the description. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button because I'm going through all of the required practicals and you're not going to want to miss them. And a big thank you to Woodford County High School for letting me film here today. So I need my stock solution of glucose and distilled water to create my different concentrations. I also have a range of syringes to use for this. So I have a selection of 1 milliliter syringes as well as 2 milliliter syringes as well. I've got my test tube rack with lots of different test tubes, well, 6 different test tubes to create those different dilutions in, and a permanent marker to label these to make sure they do not get confused because they're all colourless liquids at this stage. I've got my quantitative Benedict solution, stop clock, lots of dropping pipettes so I can transfer my solutions at the end into the cuvettes. I've got my cuvette holder, my colorimeter, and I've got a large beaker and a thermometer to create my water bath for the experiment. So before we get started then, you need to make your students aware of the risk assessment. Now, first of all, in order for the quantitative Benedicts to work, we need to be using water at 90 degrees C. So I'm going to be using water from a kettle to avoid having to have Bunsen's because the flame is an extra hazard, but the water itself could still cause burns, so they need to make sure they are working really carefully. The quantitative Benedicts as well is harmful to the environment and an irritant, so it must not go down the sink and they must wear goggles the entire time. The glassware could smash and cause cuts, so it's really important that we use a test tube rack to hold all of the test tubes, not leaving any on the table so they could roll off and smash. And then the final one to be aware of is our colorimeter is plugged into the mains and we have liquids here. So any spills must be cleaned up straight away so we don't get any liquid onto the plug socket. So let's get into the method then. And the first thing I'm going to do is label all of my test tubes. So these are the different concentrations that I'm going to be making. So that's what I'm going to label. I've got 0, 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. I'm going to put my distilled water into this beaker because otherwise my syringes won't be able to fit into this bottle. So I'm going to add in water to all of them first, and this one here is 2, it's just water. So I'm going to add in my 2. That one is 1.6. So I'm actually going to swap over to these now to get more accurate measurement. 1.6. That's 1, and then this one will be plus 0.2. Next is 0.8 of water. Then 0.4. And finally, no water. So next I'm going to do the same thing and pour my pre-made 10 millimoles of glucose solution into the beaker so it's easy to get out. Just going to give it a shake before I use it so it's definitely all mixed up. Get a new syringe. So this one here is 2 of glucose. And next 1.6 and 1.2. And this one will be 0.8 and then 0.4. And I'm going to get a bung to put on top because we need to mix all of them so that we do have an equal distribution. So we definitely have the concentration we're expecting throughout. So next on our list is we need to place all of those test tubes into a boiling water bath. I'm not going to completely fill it because when you add the test tubes, That displaces the water, so it's going to, oof. I was not expecting that. Don't want the bungs on anymore because we've mixed it. Okay, let's do that again. So next then I'm going to put the test tubes in, but take the bungs off because as they go into the hot water, that can cause an increase in pressure in the test tubes and make them pop. Oof. Was not expecting that. And we'll leave them for about 4 minutes to reach temperature. So now we've got those mixed and we know they are equally distributed. I'm going to add the Benedicts. Now so that it can actually fit in, I'm going to go for 2 centimetres cubed, just using my dropping pipette into each of them. Then I'm just going to mix it. And now we're ready to put all of those into our water bath. And it'll take probably about 4 to 5 minutes for the reaction to occur. I'm actually gonna boil the kettle again because it does need to be around 90 for this to work, and I can see it's already dropped. So that's now had long enough, but we need to let it to cool for 5 minutes before we put our samples in the colorimeter. So I'm going to take them out and being very careful not to shake. So any precipitate that's formed will start to settle at the bottom. We'll leave it about 5 minutes, but for this one we can basically just touch it to make sure it's not going to be too hot to go into the colorimeter. So we're now ready to transfer our solutions into the cuvettes for the colorimeter. So with the colorimeter, some of the key things that you need to make your students aware of are, first of all, they need to zero the colorimeter before they start. So you need to make sure that you have a cuvette filled with distilled water to use for this. They also need to make sure that the color filter that they're using is the opposite color spectrum to the color of the solution. So this is blue, so I'm going to go for red. So then I'm going to put my cuvettes in, making sure that I'm only handling it on the ridged side so I don't leave any grease and fingerprints on the front. And you've got the frosted triangle at the front. Students sometimes don't push it all the way in. You need to listen and feel for the click. And then press R to reset to say that is our 0. That is our standard that we are comparing to. I'm then going to use a different dropping pipette to transfer the solutions into each one. And be very, very careful because the precipitator settled at the bottom and I don't want to draw that up. And I want it about 3/4, or at the very least half full. So that should be fine. So now we're ready to test the absorbance of each of these samples. And I've got my table to record the results as I go, making sure I'm holding on the ridge side and frosted triangles at the front. When I push, make sure it does click, and we press T for test. So that was my 0, so 1.15. And then my 0.2. I've actually got slightly different concentrations to these, but I think it's because I've said millimole here, so yeah, that's fine. 1.32. 1.46. 1.54. And 1.24. So we can see that we do get this nice increase up until the 1.24 where it drops. So as we saw, the absorbance actually dropped when it got to the highest concentration. So I then went away and did some research, and here are some of the reasons why. First of all, it could be the Beer-Lambert that only works in a linear range. So at very high absorbances, the colorimeter can't measure accurately, so the values flatten or even dip. Secondly, maybe the Benedict's reagent can become limiting. If there's more glucose and copper ions available, there's no extra products to form, so the absorbance stops increasing. And thirdly, it could be maybe large clumps of precipitate are scattering the light differently or settle at the bottom, actually lowering the reading. So to fix it, you could try adding excess reagent or more reagent to each one. Have a little go, but if you have found anything that helps with this, then let me know in the comments. So now you've got your results, your students would plot the absorbance on the y-axis, concentration of sugar on the x-axis, plot their data and create the calibration curve. And you could then give them the unknown glucose concentrations, which are our fake urine samples. They would do exactly the same thing again. You'd have your unknown urine sample, add the same volume of Benedict's, place it in the water bath for about 5 minutes, let it cool down for 5 minutes, put it into your colorimeter, measure the absorbance, and then on this graph here, we can see whatever their absorbance was. And in this example, we've got the urine sample had an absorbance of 0.58. We then read off to see where it intercepts our line and read down to see what glucose concentration that is. And we can then do that to work out the glucose concentration in the urine sample. So some top tips just to make sure your students are aware of in this investigation. Make sure that they do label their test tubes right at the start so they don't get them confused when they're all colourless liquids. Make sure they do always zero their colorimeter using distilled water at the start. Make sure they're not touching all the sides of the cuvette, making them greasy to affect the light absorbance, and that they're definitely placing it into the colorimeter with the frosted triangle facing forwards. And then with regards to that quantitative Benedict solution, it does work best if it's fresh, and you need to make sure that you are adding the same volume every single time, because that's going to affect the amount of precipitate that would form. So that is it for this required practical. Don't forget you can download the guide for free going through all of this experiment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of these videos.